Good morning. My name is Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. Welcome to my group, Roberta's Creative Stampers. This is a public group that you can join, and you will get creative ideas, and you can see videos like this one here if you're not seeing it elsewhere. And you can also order any of the products that you see me using today from my online store at rcolasino.stampinup.net. If you should place an order for anything in the month of December, be sure to use this host code, unless your order is more than $150, in which case you will earn Stampin' Rewards and you don't want to use the host code. If you are kind of new to Stampin' Up! Or new to using those rewards, please reach out and ask me about them before you place your order, as you could lose out on some rewards if you don't do everything just so. All right, so I have been doing a series called the 12 Days of Christmas, and today is day 7 of the 12 Days of Christmas, and we are going to learn how to make a gift card holder or gift card wallet. So let's go ahead and get started. So I made these two just to show as an example. This one obviously with a more Christmassy theme, and I put a belly band on that to hold it shut. And it opens just simply like that, and inside it says Merry Christmas, and your gift card fits right in there perfectly. Closes up, and then you put the belly band on. This one just couldn't be easier. I feel like I jinx myself every time I say that, but I'm going to stick to it. It couldn't be easier. All right, this other one that you see here, you do want your belly band to be a little bit snug so it doesn't fall off. Sometimes it's a little fiddly to get it back on. Okay, I'll just do that later. This other one that you see here, I made more of an all-occasion one just because sometimes if people see things in Christmas mode, they think it's only for Christmas. So this is some new designer series paper that I actually got in our celebration catalog, which is something that will come out in January and run through March, I believe. And this is called Flower and Field Designer Series paper. And I'm not sure if you can buy this or if you can only get it as a celebration item, which means I got it for free for spending $50 in the January to June mini catalog. All right, so this one I tried to do something different for a closure. I thought I would try a little Velcro. And I have these very small Velcro dots that I got on Amazon. And they're not heavyweight, so I thought it would be okay. But number one, they kind of leave a little bulk there, which I wasn't too happy about. And number two, while they're not heavyweight, if you didn't know that they were there and you just want to pull this apart, you could rip the whole thing. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I thought maybe if I cut it in half and put the flat part closer to the edge, it wouldn't stick up as much. I'm not sure if I like that or not. So I actually thought, in addition to the Velcro dot, since I don't want to rip it off, I might just tie a little ribbon around it since it's kind of pretty and feminine anyway. Make a bow. All right, gosh, I hate making bows in public because I'm so bad at bows. But I will. Okay, not terrible. Needs a little zhuzhing. All right, so that's kind of pretty. So maybe I would go with that. And just for your information, I also sometimes use these little tiny magnets, which I get on Amazon, although I've discovered there are some less expensive places to get them. And they're very thin, so they might not make quite as much bulk as that. But with the magnets, you have to bury them under the paper because you don't really want to see them. So those are just some alternatives to the belly band, but I'm starting to think the belly band is just the best way to go. Okay, so to start out with, what you need is a piece of cardstock that has been cut to 5.5 inches by 6 inches. Okay, and then it gets scored at 7/8 of an inch on both ends along the shorter side, the 5.5 inch side. And then you would flip it and it gets scored again at, gets scored again somewhere at, there it is, at 1 3/4. Couldn't read my own handwriting. It gets scored again at 1 3/4 and 4 1/4, or 1 3/4 and flip it and do 1 3/4 again, whichever method works best for you. All right. So very simply, for this, we're going to get rid of all of the corner pieces. Now, if you're looking very carefully, you can see that I made a scoring oops there, but I just decided not to waste the paper because this will get covered up anyway. So I just decided not to worry about it. Okay? So, if you remember from yesterday, I said to score on the opposite side or on the other side of the score, or to cut rather on the other side of the score mark, because that score mark itself creates a little bit of bulk when you start to fold up your project. So same thing here. You see that little bump there? We're going to cut to the right of that, so we're eliminating the bump as well as the corner piece that we don't need. Okay, now on some of the things I've showed you, we've done some mitering on the tabs, but this wallet, gift card wallet or holder, is a little bit different because it doesn't have tabs that are totally hidden inside the project, so we don't want to do that. But we do want to score or cut on the other side of those score lines to eliminate that bulk. So depending on which side you're on, you're either cutting to the right of the score line or you're cutting to the left of the score line. These are Stampin' Up's paper snips, which are great because they're small. They give you a lot of flexibility in moving. They are very sharp, and that's both a good quality and something to be aware of because you can hurt yourself with these scissors. Okay, and again, cutting on the right side, in this case of that score mark, to just get rid of it altogether. And you can also get into the tiniest of spots with these scissors, as opposed to a larger pair of scissors where you might also go past where you want to go. Okay, cutting on the right side of that score mark to get rid of that. And now we basically have the bones of our gift card holder. Okay, now if you find when you start to fold it that it's not cooperating totally, you can take a tiny bit more off of here, but don't do it as a really obvious wedge like we've done with some of the other things. Just take the tiniest bit off. You can see what a small piece that was and see if that does the trick. You might have to go around and do it on both sides. It's paper, it's not perfect, and the scoring process isn't always perfect either. Okay, so that looks pretty good now. So I'm going to bring in my bone folder and I'm going to burnish those edges down in the hopes that that will help the whole thing lay flatter and work better. Okay, the other thing that I am going to do is on these two flaps here. You can see that I did it on this one, and you can do it on these flaps as well. I'm going to round the corners. Okay, we talked about this the other day. I am missing my Stampin' Up! Detailed corner or detailed trio punch, and I'm really missing it because it just doesn't work quite as well as this one. Yesterday when I made those two samples, I ended up having to trim with my, see, it's like every other time that happens, and that's kind of annoying. But, you know, that's worse things could happen, right? And I'll try putting it in there again and cleaning it up, and that just made it worse. So, yeah. So if you're looking for a good corner rounder, the Detailed Trio Punch really would be a good suggestion. And it isn't just a corner rounder, it also helps. It makes some pretty designs and some things that can be used functionally as well. Okay, so we'll keep going. Okay, not bad. All right, so now that we've got that done, the next thing that we need to have is 3 pieces of Designer Series paper, which are going to go on the outside. So since we folded this way, we already know that's the inside. So one piece is going to measure 2 3/8 by 3 5/8, and that will be for the back. And then there will be 2 pieces that will be 1 5/8 by 3 5/8. All right, and we are simply going to glue those down. And if you've been watching for the last 6 or 7 days, I am still using that same bottle of glue that I threw in the garbage and then took out again and discovered that it was really just a little plugged and needed me to stick a pin in it. And you can see I am not using much glue at all. This stuff is extremely sticky. It dries pretty quickly, but gives you just enough wiggle room so if you put it down crooked, you can zhuzh it a little bit, okay? And then, yeah, because once you press it down, you don't have much wiggle room. Okay. So because I rounded these corners, I really should round 2 of these corners as well. Now, if you had a pattern that was very directional, you would want to make sure that if this is going to be the top, that it follows that direction. And if this is going to be the bottom, that it follows that direction. This pattern doesn't have too much directionality to it, so I'm not going to worry about it, but if it was actually a scene or if you had visible characters or something on it, then you would want to be really careful to do that. I feel like I could look at this long enough and figure out that it has some type of a direction, but I'm just not going to worry about it. Little trim. Okay. So now we're going to glue these on. And since our paper is two-sided, if you wanted to, you could kind of jazz it up a little bit by using one side of the paper for part of this and a different side for the other. And I might if they were more similar, but I like that, but not to mix with this, I don't think. Just my opinion. Okay, so I put it down, and now I'm going to push it a little bit because I see that it's not quite right. And then press it down, and I'm telling you right now, if I tried to get that up, it wouldn't happen. Well, there's supposed to be Christmas music quietly playing in the background, but instead we're getting some advertisements. I apologize. Apparently I'm not paying for the premium version without advertisements. Shame on me. Oh, well. There we go. Okay. I could have just said shut up to her, but I try not to be mean to her. This morning I asked her if I was going crazy, and she actually said maybe. That was of concern to me. Usually she says I don't have any information on that. All right, so now that part is done, and then inside I put this cute little sentiment from the Perfectly Plaid set, which says North Pole Delivery. It also has Merry Christmas, ho ho ho, hoping that your busy year comes together in Christmas cheer. May this special season be wrapped in love and joy. And this particular stamp set does pair with this punch. And they were sold as a bundle last year, but because they were brought back this year, they're not in a bundle. However, they are retiring, which means that right now they are on sale on Stampin' Up's site and in my online store. So Stampin' Up came out with their retirement list for the Christmas catalog or holiday catalog, which they are now calling the, what the heck are they calling it? August to December mini catalog. I don't know why we can't just call it a holiday catalog, but that is the new name for whatever reason. I'm sure there's a reason. Okay, and again, your gift card should fit right in there. It should close up nicely, and it does. Yay. And then for this one, I made a belly band. I know I did. Okay. I decided to make a belly band, which is 6 inches long, and usually I make them in, like this one is 1 inch wide. This one I made 3/4 of an inch, not for any particular reason, but just because. So all you do to make the belly band is you take the front of it, you put it on like that at the end, and you just wrap it around. And while you're wrapping it, don't use all of your strength to pull it as tight as you can because you don't want it that tight, okay? The reason I end it on the front there is because I almost always put some type of a sentiment or a something on there. So I don't want it up there. I'm going to want it lower, and I want it to cover up my little seam there. So I'm going to trim a little bit off my seam. There we go, to be sure that my ho 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 isn't going to show. So again, it doesn't take too much of this glue. It holds very well. Bring that up, make sure that it's lined up. Press it down, give it a little rub, and you know, because this has some pressure on it, I'll hold on to it for a few seconds. Okay, so while I was pressing it to hold on to it there, I made it a little bit crooked, but that's going to get covered up anyway, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. Now I could take my ho-ho-ho and I could just glue it on right here. If I wanted to pop it up with some dimensionals, I could, but I think for today I'm just going to glue it on. And just to help this hold a little bit better, just in case, I'll put my glue right over that seam. You want to make sure that you don't glue this whole thing up and stick it down, because then you're not going to be able to get your belly band off because it will be stuck to your card holder. So again, that's another one of those stories I tell you because I've done it. I have absolutely done it. Okay, so there you go. You could even, you know, those real tiny bows that you can buy in some places, you could put a tiny bow on that, or you could make your own bow, there's a thought, and put it on there. Whatever you like will work. Okay, so that is that, and let's see, anything else I wanted to tell you? Inside this one, well, I guess I'll just untie it. Inside this one here, the stamp that I used for that one in crushed curry says happy birthday, and that came from this, which is also new and will be available to you in the catalog that comes out January 4th or 5th. And it's called Handsomely Suited. And it's, you know, at first I had no intention of buying it. It says, you know, world's greatest dad, happy Father's Day. I don't have a husband, I don't have a father, but of course my customers do. So, but I just thought, I don't know, what would you do with this? And then I saw the dies. So the dies do not come with it. They complement it, but you have to pay for the dies separately, but they do come in a bundle, which means you get 10% off. You can do the most adorable things with these. Absolutely the most adorable things. You can even make a welcome baby boy card and put a bow tie on the front. This is like a suit jacket or a tuxedo, but this other part that just makes a V-neck comes out. And I saw somebody who made a card that looked like a lab coat or a doctor's or nurse's coat, and it was a thank you card for first line responders and things like that. So once I saw that, I thought, okay, apparently I do have to have that. It just does some really, really cute things. Buttons, I mean, look at those buttons. Oh my goodness. So that is a die. So again, to use these, you have to have some type of a die cutting machine. All of these dies, I believe, because they're all pretty narrow, would fit in our new, which is going to be available in January, mini cut emboss machine. And I don't even have mine yet, but for someone who doesn't like anything that takes up too much room, this just might be the thing for you. It lets you make a pocket. I just thought there are so many cute things that you could do with that, and I will probably do a product-based class on this because it's just too stinking cute. So sometimes you look at things and you think, nope, 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 I don't have to have that, and then you change your mind. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining me today. Please don't forget that you are watching this today, possibly here, possibly someplace else, but Roberta's Creative Stampers, all new members are welcome. We'd love to have you. In a couple of hours, I will probably have the template for this posted along with the supply list of what you need.